Morning. Beautiful morning, everyone. Let me just check all the platforms. You guys see the title. I got a whole lot to get to today. So buckle up wherever you're tuning in from, however you're tuning in, just buckle up because there is a lot of stuff I got to get to. A lot of new things coming up. And your one and only Move Swiftly speaker, has got to address it. Okay. Wait a minute before us. There we go. All right. Checking LinkedIn. What's up? LinkedIn, we're good. Facebook. Let me check Facebook. Hold up. All right, Facebook is ready to roll. All right, Facebook be ready to roll. All right, we're good. We're good on Facebook. Now let me go to YouTube. Which, by the way, if you are a regular consumer of my work and you are curious as to what the best platform is to listen to me on, it would be YouTube. And I invite you to also join the Patreon community as well to get exclusive content and where a lot of my energy will be going towards as we approach the new year. Let me check YouTube real quick before. All right, live on YouTube. Let me check this real quick. Yes, you guys see the topic. It was quite possibly the greatest Sunday of the year. All right, good. So we're live, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn. Shout yourself out if you're tuning in. Here for another episode of tackling turnover with teamwork. As you can see, we're talking how important sales are, creating an experience, and how when you mix a great experience with selling, it'll lead to brand loyalty. All right. So before I get into all that, let me introduce myself to anybody that's new to this world, new to me. My name is Aswan Crookshank. I refer to myself as your one and only Move Swiftly speaker. It gives you a perspective on teamwork that you will not get anywhere else. Former Division I college football player and current 5-time published author and educator. And what I do is I take the lessons that I've learned on the football field in regards to teamwork, and I teach business owners how to apply those lessons in their business so they have a team, a staff that is moving in a very cohesive way, a very motivated staff. So that's in a nutshell what it is I do. So as far as what we're going to be talking about today, we're going to be adding some current events in, and we're going to, well, actually, before I get into the topic, let me get through a few announcements. First and foremost, if you are in the West Palm Beach area, if you're in the West Palm Beach, Florida area, and you're interested in free boxing lessons, make sure you contact me. Just hit that QR code right there. We are doing free boxing lessons every 2 weeks in the West Palm Beach area. I'm a group leader at my church, and we've actually started it this past weekend. It was great. Again, if you're interested in doing that, make sure you contact me. Business owners, if you have not yet, go to freeguide.makeyourmove.com. Get yourself a free guide. I put it into 10 ways, 10 very easy to understand ways in which you can use innovative teamwork to reduce the turnover in your business. Go to freeguide.makeyourmove.com to get a copy of that. You need that copy right now, especially if you're struggling with keeping a staff together and keeping people motivated when it comes to what they're doing for a living, for work, and all that kind of stuff. Finally, patreon.com/As144. We have tiers for everybody, no matter what financial situation you are in. We have a tier for everybody that is interested in growing and developing, especially in regards to how they build their teams, how they go about keeping people motivated to show up to work every single day. We have the preseason, the regular season, and the postseason, depending on which level you're at. Just go to patreon.com/As144 for more details on that, and contact me if you have any questions directly, you can always reach out to me directly with any questions about the Patreon community that I have started. All right. So as far as today, if it's the first time in this world, you more than likely have not heard the term wintrepreneur. And every Wednesday, I do something called a wintrepreneur tip. And for those of you who are new to this world, hold on, let me get the topic. Sales plus and yeah, I'm getting better with this technology stuff. So let me make sure all of this stuff is straight so you guys understand. Add that as a banner. All right. So yes. Wintrepreneur tip, right? That's where I was. Wintrepreneur tip. If you are new to the term wintrepreneur, it's basically as it sounds. It's taking an entrepreneur and taking a person who has a job that's paying them every single 2 weeks, and you're lucky enough, you've been blessed enough and fortunate enough to align your entrepreneurial vision with the job or with the company that's paying you every 2 weeks. Normally, before your one and only Move Swiftly speaker really got a hold of the phrase, it was called being an entrepreneur, but I've taken the phrase and turned it into being a wintrepreneur. And every single Wednesday for the past 3 or 4 months at this point, I've come out and given a wintrepreneur tip. You can go pull my receipts and look at every video that's been posted every single Wednesday for the past couple months. It's been me giving you a tip on how to become a wintrepreneur. All right. So this week's tip on how to become a wintrepreneur is going to lead us into the topic of today's show. All right. Today's show, as you can see on the screen, it's sales plus an experience will equal brand loyalty. Meaning when you are in business, when you are really looking to give a gift to the world and you are really believing in your product and you're believing in your services and you are really ambitious enough to really think and hope and believe in your heart of hearts that it will work, you have to emphasize the sales element to it. And then you also have to ask yourself, what's the experience I'm giving to a potential customer? All right. So we're going to dive into all of that. We're going to dive into all of that because this past Sunday was a shining example of how I was sold. I was sold several things, and it was the experience that I had with these previous companies that made it so it's like, yo, I have to do a whole show because this is exactly the way businesses should run and how they should, the feeling they should be giving off to their clients. However, before I get to that, I got to talk about Jay-Z. All right. And I remember just saying that. I just said this. So every day I do something called a daily Move Swiftly thought. And today's daily Move Swiftly thought, I reacted to these recent allegations about Jay-Z he's being accused of raping a 13-year-old girl 25 years ago in 2000. His name was added to the lawsuit. And again, go listen to my most recent video that I just posted. And I have a 12-minute reaction to it. So we're going to start today's show off speaking on that a little bit, but I'm also going to use one of the reasons, and another thing that I mentioned when I reacted to the video, when I reacted to this initially, is there's two people, all right? There's two celebrities when it comes to me personally that are off limits, all right? You don't talk negatively about two celebrities, and if you want to talk about any other rapper, any other celebrity, I'm good with. But when it comes to Jay-Z and when it comes to Ray Lewis, I don't know. Nope. I'll go ride with them regardless. I don't have anything negative to say. And what I was actually saying in the video previously is that I idolize them to the point where I don't even know if I want to actually meet them in person, because everything that they're about, the whole public persona of them, the way I was able to see them during the times in my life when I saw them. When it comes to Ray Lewis, I was a freshman in high school going through it, not sure if I made the right decision when it comes to the high school that I picked, really having a difficult time. And I got an opportunity to see him in a playoff game when they played the Titans at M&T Bank Stadium. And I was a super fan. Even though they lost that game, I became a super fan of Ray Lewis, and it helped me get through and accomplish the things that I was able to accomplish in high school. And the same thing happened when it came to Jay-Z. It was my freshman year in college. All right. And I was going through it. I'd already torn my ACL at that point. I was living in Tennessee. I was considering, again, I'm really going through a difficult time and trying to figure out how I'm going to navigate this quote unquote real world. And I had an opportunity to see Jay-Z perform with Mary J. Blige and became a super fan. So from that point, I'm loyal to the soil. All right. When it comes to Jay-Z, when it comes to Ray Lewis, they're not allowed to be talked about in a negative fashion when I'm around. Okay. Because I'm a cape up for those two. Those are my guys, idols. All right. I still idolize them to this day as a grown ass man. Right. And I'm going to play you two clips that is one of the reasons that I idolize Jay-Z to this day. And it's also going to fit well into today's Wintrepreneur tip. It's about how he started Rockefeller. All right, he started Rockefeller. In fact, I'll let it play, and then I'll give my thoughts when you see it.
Really an extension of being creative, right? Is part of the whole culture. Right, when you see Mary J. Blige, you don't just see the music. You see the music, the fashion, the growth, the evolution. Everything is part of it. I was just able to put that into a business plan, right? But it's pretty much an extension of what I do. Like I was wearing this brand called Iceberg, and I would go to the shows. When I went to the show, the whole crowd had on Iceberg. The entire crowd was wearing Iceberg.
And the light went off, huh?
Yeah, so I actually went to, it didn't go off yet.
Yeah.
I was thinking smaller.
Right.
So I went to Iceberg and said, guys, you guys should really partner with me some stuff because I think I'm starting a little movement out there with the clothing. They was like, what do you want to do? I said, well, we could get the use of the jet plane. Yeah. We went in there and started asking for astronomical things because what we saw in the audience they hadn't seen yet. Right? It don't come up on the Q ratings or anything like that. So it hadn't touched them yet. It was still early in the process, right? So, but we saw it, right? It's physically we knew where it was going.
But you were asking for the use of the plane.
No, we asked for a deal, but that was part of the deal.
Right.
It's still an endorsement deal.
Right.
We want all the money, a plane.
All right. So before I play the next one, I gotta just tell you this. That clip, I remember watching that clip well over 10 years ago. I was taking an online marketing class. It was, what school was it? I think it was, I can't even remember the name of the school. Yeah, I think was it UMBC? No, it wasn't UMBC, UMES. One of the online, I'm still registered at an online college, and I took a marketing class. And one of the assignments that the teacher gave was to talk about something marketing wise. And I remember sending that, this is well over 10 years ago. I remember sending that particular video to them. And I'm telling you, it's why I walk around my Plus LY stuff to this day, because I know that brand. I know that brand Iceberg. I had an Iceberg t-shirt. I grew up in Maryland. I have a ton of family in Brooklyn. So the brand Iceberg, I had no idea that Rockefeller, that was what inspired him to create Rockaware. And then, as he said, it made sense for him because of the artist, the evolution, the fact that, clothes and what you wear is part of being an artist. It's not just going on stage and rapping and stuff like that. It's actual what's going to make sense business wise. And it taught me, when I'm putting out, I'll show you guys when I'm putting out these books, I'm talking about my books and my intellectual property. In fact, I have an article about Jay-Z because he had a whole section in the Brooklyn Library, and I did a whole article about the importance of intellectual property. If intellectual property is what you are known for in particular books, then you should be selling the speaking, and you should lay off the merchandise per se. Not to say that you won't sell merchandise, but that shouldn't be the main seller, because people are going to be following you because of your thoughts and how you touch the classroom. So the coaching packages and stuff like that makes sense. This is stuff, again, I like I told you before the video, I've never met Jay-Z in person, but this is stuff I was picking up on just off clips like this. So again, you can't just keep coming at my guy like that. You can't come at him without me, taking it personal. So that was the first one. Let me play the last one, and then we'll get into, I'll let you know why it should be taken as today's Wintrepreneur tip.
A plane. And they kicked us out, right? Get out. How many records you sold? We hadn't sold any records at that time. We like 40,000 records. They looking at everything indicated this was, not to do this deal.
So when did you have this epiphany then that you could do more than just partner with them, but you could do your own?
Right after that, we called. We went and got some. We were so far off. We had like a record company. It was like way smaller than this, and 3 sewing machines. That's how we started Rockaway. We got 3 sewing machines, and we thought we were gonna sew T-shirts. We didn't know, right? So then we said, Russell had Fat Farm, and we called Russell and said, how'd you do this? And then he introduced us to, the guys that, we partnered up with, and, we went from there.
Yeah. Although I'm confident that if you had decided you really wanted to sew, you could have done it.
Not me. I was
just you do everything else so well.
No, but we bought the song. We bought it. I gotta tell you everything. We had a young lady with a credit card hookup, and she. So that's really how Rockaway started.
That's why you got little black folks. You can't fake the hustle. You can't knock the hustle. Yeah.
She got us 3 sewing machines, and we started.
All right, so check it out. First thing he said on that, all right, and this is why it's today's Wintrepreneur tip. And what you have to understand is he was saying it sort of tongue-in-cheek, and he was having fun with it. But when he's in this meeting with Iceberg and saying, all these ridiculous things, I want all the money, I want all this. And the question Iceberg had to him was, how many records did you sell? I want to make sure that it was at the beginning of the clip, and I want to make sure I re-emphasize that. And that's what we're going to be talking about today, is making sure there's an emphasis on sales. Play it again so you guys hear it.
Plane. We actually, and they kicked us out, right? Get out. How many records you sold? And we hadn't sold any records at that time. We like 40,000 records. They looking at everything indicated.
Period. Right? How many did you sell? How many did you sell? This is Iceberg getting an opportunity to partner with Jay-Z. Again, at this point, he's a celebrity. He's known by some. But the question that they had was, how many records did you sell? They ain't sold nothing. Get up out the office, right? Get out of the office. So sales has to be a point. And when we're talking about, as I wrap up today's Wintrepreneur tip, you have to make sure whatever it is you're doing, if you're talking about expansion, if you're talking about growth, if you're talking about trying to get to a place where you foresee, or if you're talking about wanting to be at a place in which you are looked at as a success, or you would consider yourself a success when you get to whatever measurable, whatever statistic that you're trying to get to, you have to include sales in the process. Just having a cool logo, just having a cool website, just having, nice fancy pictures and all that will not get the job done. It will not get the deal done. As you just heard, I'm going to play it for you real quick one more time, then I'm going to get in. I'm going to double down on my thoughts on all this accusation stuff. But it's, how many records did you sell? He said, I didn't sell that. We didn't sell that many at the time. So they kicked us out, and I had to go start up my own Rockaway brand.
A plane. And they kicked us out, right? Get out. How many records you sold? And we hadn't sold any records at that time. We like 40,000 records. They looking at everything indicated.
There. All right. So here we go. Now you guys have sort of been given some privy information onto why, when it comes to Jay-Z, I take these allegations personal. All right. I take it personal. You don't play around. You don't get to be disrespectful with him when it comes to me. I'm always going to cape up for Jay-Z because there's so much business I learned. So let's just get into the facts of this lawsuit. Let's get into all of the stuff that has come out. All right. All the stuff that has come out. First and foremost, this was something that was refiled. It was a lawsuit that was refiled. This is, this stuff, I'm not an attorney. I'm not someone, I'm a sports guy. I watched sports growing up. I comment on sports. I use the sports business to speak to my audience and to speak to my audience, usually to speak to the people, that's where my expertise is. That's my lane. All right. Oh, we have a comment. Yeah, that's my lane, right? So when it comes to the legal stuff that Jay-Z is going through, this is stuff I am learning on the fly. I did not know that a person can file a lawsuit and then come back and then file another one and add a person's name to it. Like I didn't even know that that's allowed. Like, I didn't even know that these are things that I didn't even know that was allowed. So basically what happened, you have this woman who didn't identify herself by name, which is cowardice in my opinion. All right. You didn't identify yourself by name, who files a lawsuit against Diddy. She comes out now and then adds Jay-Z's name to the lawsuit, to the civil lawsuit. And now it has blown up. It's become public information. Now you see the headlines, oh, Jay-Z is accused of raping someone 25 years ago, which again, and then I'm going to repeat what I said earlier on today's video, is that the math simply isn't mathing. And again, I get I'm a fan. I get, some of you guys in the comments, I can hear you now, Jazz one just caping up for his boy because you're a fan of his and all. No. This is just completely, this is wrong. This is wrong. They're wrong what they're doing. And I'm going to close out my whole statement on this, because I would recommend you go watch the full 12 minutes when I gave my thoughts on this. But I'm just going to put his statement up on the screen right now, just so we're clear, just so you understand how ridiculous it is. All right. This is a celebrity. It's a global icon known around the world. All right. Done had sit downs with Warren Buffett. He sat down with Warren Buffett, dog. All right. The man is known all over the world, a billionaire who isn't hiding behind lawyers, who isn't in a situation where he's going to say, oh, I'm going to let the legal process. No, that's typically what you would see a celebrity or someone of his stature do. No, he didn't do that. He came out and made this statement that I'm going to read out here out loud for you guys that's on the screen right now. It's these allegations are so heinous in nature that I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one. These allegations are so heinous in nature that I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one. These allegations are so heinous in nature that I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one. I'm pausing for a reason. I'm pausing. It's not that I'm not going to read the rest of it, but I'm pausing for a reason. Global icon, global celebrity, has sat down with Warren Buffett, one of the richest men in the world. All right. World famous, is going and telling someone the allegations are heinous in nature that I implored you to file a criminal complaint. He's telling her to go file something more heavier. It's like, come at me. And he's going directly to the person who's accusing him. What other celebrity doing that? Who else is doing that? All right, let me finish read the statement because I can get off topic. I can go on a tangent with this one. So, whomever would commit, I'll read the whole thing. And we'll get into today's topic a little more. But actually, this actually relates to today's topic because it is important that you provide an experience and stuff like that. So, all right, these allegations are so heinous in nature that I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one! ! Whomever would commit such a crime against a minor should be locked away. Would you not agree? The conversational tone that he's having, he's asking not only the accuser, but everyone that is reading this, everyone that's a fan of his, wouldn't you agree that the things that this person is accusing me of should be locked away, should be in jail? So why are you not filing a criminal complaint? Why are you filing a civil one? Because you want to get paid. That's what can easily be assumed, or is kind of factual in the nature of the way it's being, the way it's coming out. But the last line, these alleged victims would deserve real justice if that were the case. Period. Point blank. End of sentence. That statement alone says it all. Global icon, celebrity known around the world, is going to come, not hide behind lawyers, go directly to the person who's accusing him of these heinous crimes and say, go file a criminal one, because the person that you're accusing, whoever is guilty of this, deserves to be locked away. Wouldn't you agree? Period. That's it. That shows confidence. That shows the ability to say, hey, I didn't do it. And if I did do it, then I should be locked away. That's like holding himself accountable. Okay. So huge Jay-Z fan before this. I don't know if it was possible to become a bigger fan of his, but became a bigger fan of his based on that, because it teaches so much. It teaches so much in terms of when you do when you do your work, right? When you really do your work, when you're about your business. And like the kids say nowadays, when you're standing on business and you love what you do so much, you put in the work, you don't have to necessarily worry about people being shady. You don't have to, when I say you don't have to worry about it, I mean, you have conviction, you have enough conviction, you have enough principles to where when somebody tries to challenge you professionally, you're ready in that moment. I say it all the time. Stay ready so you don't got to get ready. All right. So video makes it so interesting. Thank you. Hey, I'm reading some of the comments. And by the way, if you're listening, and just leave all your comments and I'll get to them towards the end of the live stream. All right. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about my Sunday, this past Sunday. Now, before I talk about this past Sunday, let me take you back to something that I said previously earlier. I didn't mean to mention it before I started talking about the topic, but when I think about why I'm such a huge Jay-Z fan and why I'm such a huge Ray Lewis fan, it's because of the experience that I had when I saw them in person. All right. And you see it on the screen. Focusing on sales is important, but also focusing on an experience that you're giving an individual, because you don't know the individual, you don't know what a person's going through when they're seeing you do your work. I don't know what a person may be going through when they run across one of my videos. I don't know what a person may be going through when they see one of my posts, or they see my website, or they see something I'm doing that can help them in the moment. For years, when I was a boxing trainer, I have the book right here, and I talked about it in Make Your Move. I had no idea that some of these women were walking into this boxing gym after having been in domestic abusive relationships. I mean, horrible, horrible stories that I did not know I was helping them out as I'm motivating them and teaching them how to throw that jab, that cross, that uppercut, that hook, jab, cross, and I'm giving them the confidence. You don't know what experience you're putting a person through and how positive the experience may be. It can be saving their lives. All right. So when it comes to Ray, we'll start with Ray Lewis. All right. When I was in high school, freshman year in high school, it was a lot that went into the decision for me to actually attend the high school that I attended, which is Good Counsel High School. This was before it blew up into the powerhouse football program that we all know it to be, to where nowadays it's easier. I'm not going to say it's easy, but it's easier to make the decision to go to a Good Counsel because of what they've already built on the football field. All right. The parents now can see, look, we have tons of guys in the NFL, hundreds of guys playing Division I football. We're on ESPN. The track record speaks for itself. It's an easier decision for I'm not gonna use the term race, but a public school kid, we'll say public school kid, to go transition to play football in Good Counsel now, seeing that the reputation is what it is. But me and my family, my mother and my father, they had to take a risk and, kind of bet on what would possibly happen if I send my son to Good Counsel. So I got to Good Counsel my freshman year, had a rough time, incredibly rough time. I had to go to summer school just to get eligible to play my sophomore year. And had it not been for me going to a Baltimore Ravens game, a playoff Baltimore Ravens game, and this was years, about 2 or 3 years at this point. And I think it was a year. So Ray Lewis won the Super Bowl at 2002. It's 2002. The year before Ray Lewis won the Super Bowl, he was convicted. He had some legal issues of his own. And then the next year he won a Super Bowl. And I believe it was 2 years later that I was in high school or something like that. The dates, the timeline, I got to go back and check the timeline. But the long story short is when I got an opportunity to see Ray Lewis play in person, it absolutely changed my life. Absolutely changed my life because of everything I was living through. And I'm playing the same position. I'm trying to become that guy at this new high school in which I don't look like anybody that's outside of the football program in terms of just race. I didn't really know anyone because I came from the public school system. So seeing Ray Lewis do that gave me the confidence to go out and handle my business and accomplish the things I accomplished in high school. Okay. So my freshman year in college gets here and I have those similar feelings. I get to Carson Newman. I'm not happy the first semester. However, I go back the spring semester and I tear my ACL. And now I have to really live with this reality that, hey, football it's at the end, right? I'm not going to be playing the game forever. I'm not going to be playing in the NFL. I'm not going to be good. Like, it just won't happen. Because first of all, I'm at a Division II program, and then I go and tear my ACL, and things look bleak because I have to come to that reality. And it's hard to anybody that has gone through that transition will tell you the same thing. It's hard to really accept that transition. So I actually got lucky because there was a time where I have an uncle who lives in Canada, and there was a time in which he spent as Mary J. Blige's bodyguard. So this was around the time that Mary J. and Jay-Z were doing a tour called Heart of the City Tour, and they came to DC. So when they came to DC, he would always hook us up with tickets to go see him in concert and all that stuff. So I drove. This is what I did, and I remember I had my boy Say, if you listen. Shout out to Say if you listened, but I drove from Tennessee all the way to DC. Drove from Tennessee to DC to go to a Jay-Z and Mary J. Blige concert, and it was well worth it. I mean, I remember I missed class that Monday, but it was all worth it. And, when it came to me driving back, I developed the confidence. I became a super fan of his because of the experience that I had and how much he controlled the stage. And it inspired me to, okay, even though football playing is out of the cards, you can still, speak publicly. You can still be an artist. You can still develop a fan base. You can still accomplish a lot of the things that you wanted to accomplish when, playing in the NFL was the plans. You can still go out there and be somebody. That's what these two represent for me. And that's why, again, from my perspective, the fan in me I'm going to idolize them forever for providing that experience. All right. Now, I say that I bring that up because when you're in business, the focus and the things that you need to be doing need to be centered around what experience are you providing. All right, what experience are you providing? So let me start with this past Sunday. I'm going to put the thumbnail back on the screen. All right, so here are the three things. Here are the three things that happened this past Sunday. Recording this, it's December 11th, 2024. And this past Sunday, it was December 8th, 2024. All right, let's take a look at it. Got a new car. I got a new car that Sunday. Right after I got a new car, the first thing I did is I went over to the barbershop, and the person who actually lined me up is someone that I've been rocking with for about 3 years now, ever since I got to Palm Beach. And he actually left to go to Delray, but then he recently texted me. It's like he's back in Palm Beach. So that person, I went back and saw him. And then right before I got in the chair to get a haircut, I realized that my Michigan Wolverines, again, regular listeners, you guys know, I'm a huge Michigan fan. I realized that the Michigan Wolverines would be playing their bowl game. They'd be playing their bowl game right here in Florida, in Tampa, Florida. And when I first got to Florida, I lived out there in St. Petersburg. So before I sat down, I bought the tickets. Right before I sat down to get my haircut. And the immediacy and the importance and the fact that I bought the tickets right then, it made me think about exactly why I did it, why I was so immediate, why I was so eager to make sure I bought those tickets and that I was going to be in Raymond James Stadium for New Year's Eve to watch them play and all that kind of stuff. All right, so let's start with the new car. Let's start with the car. First and foremost, when it comes to a car buying and when it comes to anything dealing with cars, me personally, I know my strengths and I know my weaknesses. One of my weaknesses is actually dealing with cars. All right, when trying to fix cars or doing anything in which the car needs maintenance, anything like that is going to require any level of like handyman car maintenance work, I ain't that dude. I am not that dude. I mean, I remember one time a tire was flat and it took me hours just to actually, fix the tire. And even then I needed some help. Car fixing and doing anything, maintenance work on cars and all that, I am not that person. I know my strengths going in. So because of that, because I knew that, and because of the amount of things I've lived through with cars. I mean, I'm talking about when I was in college, I used to drive a Saab. All right, a Saab. And I remember there was one time I was on my way from Maryland to Myrtle Beach, and the Saab just broke down, right? Like literally smoke everywhere, and everything just broke down in the middle of the street. I mean, me and my dad, we had to tow it all the way back. It was like a 2-hour drive to tow it back to Maryland. Luckily, I found a place that actually worked on Saabs, and they fixed the whole thing. And in my opinion, we ended up spending way too much money to even get the damn car fixed. The car was just a horrible. It turned out, in my opinion, not to be a great investment. So because I lived through that, when it came time after I graduated from college, I said to myself, you know what? If I'm going to get a car, it's going to be something that is dependable, period, point blank, end of sentence. So my dream car became a Toyota Camry. I laugh at that because whenever I tell people that, they're thinking like, Bugatti, Benz, Maseratis, and all. I'm like, my dream car, I ain't gonna lie to you, bro, is a Toyota Camry hybrid. People always laughing like, bro, because again, I'm not a car guy. I'm not the exotic car guy. That's just not me. I just need something that I know is not going to break down on me, right? So after I graduated college, a couple months after I graduated from college, I went and bought a Camry hybrid. Eventually, times got hard, and eventually this Camry hybrid got repossessed. And however, I mean, that was 10 years ago now. So it was, at the time, it really was actually my dream car. And the fact that it got repossessed, it still hurts me to this day, because that was my baby, man. I remember the day it did, and all the things I did, and it was my fault. It was I was being irresponsible in how I was driving and what I was doing and all that kind of stuff. So when I get to Florida, I spent some time in the Benz that my dad had, and eventually that Benz, a lot like the Saab, something goes wrong with it. It's just scary to think about driving something that if something goes wrong with, I know personally, I don't want to fix it. And then knowing that it's like Benz or Saab or something like that, where you got to take it to a certain dealership and you know how much more the parts are going to be. There's something that's really unsettling about driving a car like that around. So the minute I got sort of established out here in Florida, I went and I traded in that Benz for my dream car, a Toyota Camry hybrid. All right. Now, again, I made the mistake at this point, and this is why I'm such a huge Jay-Z fan, because he was actually the first person I heard say, I think it was in his book, The Decoded. I think it was in his book, The Decoded, where he said it in something that he put out there publicly, which is, a car loses its value the minute that it leaves the lot. It loses its value the minute that it leaves the lot. So I made the mistake of, settling for a used Toyota Camry hybrid, even though it was certified pre-owned and all that kind of stuff. But it was good for me to at least just get back into the car that I wanted to be in, which is the Camry hybrid. So I had that for a while. And because it was certified pre-owned, I lost I didn't. There was nothing necessarily wrong with the car, but when it got to the point now where I lost that deal, or the time frame came where the deal of, if anything goes wrong with it, if I have to replace anything, it's coming out of pocket. That's when I started thinking about, okay, let me trade this in, because I was paying a lot. Because remember, I had a car that was repossessed just a couple of years ago at that point, so my credit was all just horrific. The fact that I even got the car was a shock, but I trade in the Benz for the Camry hybrid, and then the Camry hybrid, it's the warranty's up on it, so I traded it in for it was that year, I think it was 2020, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it was 2020. It was 2020 where I traded it in for an all gas Camry. All right. And that was the car I was driving around for a couple years. Again, it wasn't the hybrid that I wanted, but at the end of the day, I was at least in a Camry, a newer model Camry. That was a silver one. I remember I used to call that one the Silver Bullet. Silver Bullet. And so I was riding around with that. I liked it. And for the most part, I didn't like the fact that, it wasn't a hybrid. It wasn't a hybrid, but What happened was it was my birthday 2 years ago, and I was coming back from a cruise. I was driving from Miami all the way to West Palm Beach. And in the middle of the Beltway, middle of 95, coming up 95 North, I have a blowout. All the tires just completely blow out on this Camry, this Camry, this Toyota Camry that I had, the newer one that I had, not the hybrid, but the all gas one. And I'm like, wow. Just out of nowhere. Wow, out of nowhere. So I had to get it towed. Well, no, what happened was I had a mobile tire shop come over and fix the one that actually blew out. But what I knew in my mind is that, look, if one tire blows out like this, obviously all of them are going to have to be replaced. So I immediately take it to the dealership in which not the original one, which I bought the car, but I took it to we had some connection issues there. But anyway, yeah, I take it to the dealership, and instead of me replacing all 4 of the tires, I just decide that, hey, it's probably a better idea if I simply downgrade. Let me make sure the connection is good because I'm seeing some connection issues here. Hold on 1 second, guys. All right, we're good. We're good. Let me just make sure we are good here. All right, we're good. All right, yeah. So I'm seeing. So instead of me replacing all 4 tires, I just decided I was going to downgrade from the Camry and go to the Corolla. And that turned out to be. I mean, I say I saved money in the moment because I downgraded and I got the Corolla. So the Corolla that I just traded in, it's been 2 years since I had that Corolla. All right. And I've had to replace the battery. It wasn't the car I wanted. Obviously, I had to settle for that because it just was the most responsible thing to do, all that kind of stuff. So it's been 2 years, and it hasn't been 2 years. It's going to be 2 years in about a month because I'm a month away from my birthday. By the time the 2 years passes, I was going to lose all the warranty. And if anything went wrong with it, it was going to have to come out of pocket. And what happened was just recently, like as of 2 months ago, I had to actually replace the battery on this car. So that kind of spooked me a little bit. And every time I would turn it, I hear some rumblings in the engine and all that kind of stuff. So me knowing who I am, I knew that it made more sense. And really kind of going back to that Jay-Z quote, where the minute a car leaves the lot, it loses its value. I started to see this Corolla lose its value over the past 2 years. And even past couple of weeks, when I took the Corolla to get an oil change, I was shopping around to see what would make sense if I can potentially get into the dream car that that I've been wanting for years now, which is the Camry hybrid. Is it something that's going to be feasible? Can I maybe trade in? What can I get for a trade in? I pay a Toyota credit card every month. So I'm always having some sort of money that I could spend at a Toyota dealership because I'm loyal to the brand and all that, because I know the reputation of the cars. If anything goes wrong with it, all that kind of stuff. Again, I just know what I want. So here's what happened this past Sunday. And I gave you a lot of backstory there just so you understand what happened this past Sunday. Is previously it was Thursday where I got an email. I got an email from one of the managers at this particular Toyota dealership saying, look, if you upgrade from a Corolla to a Camry, you get $1,000 down, or you get an extra $1,000 going towards the Camry. So I got that email and I'm like, oh, okay, that intrigued me because obviously that's where I wanted to be. So I called him. I said, like, I'll be there Sunday morning. I got time Sunday morning to, check, to shop around to see what you guys have. So I show up Sunday morning and I ask for the manager. Now the manager sees me. This is important for you guys to recognize now, because this is a big lesson when it comes to leadership. The manager sees me give a fist bump to this guy named Rodney. All right. Rodney is the one who sold me the Corolla 2 years ago. So every time I see my boy Rodney, it's like, what up, dog? Because he saw me when I came in with the previous Camry, the tires were blown out and I'm all shaken up to there. Look, I got to find something now. And, hopefully I'm just trying to see what deals I can get. So he sold me the Camry and it turned out to be again, not a bad investment because obviously you downgrade and the price, the monthly dues, the car note didn't go up too much or anything like that. You're pretty much staying in the same situation. So he sees me fist bump Rodney, and instead of him being the manager and trying to walk me through the cars, he tells Rodney about the situation where I saw the mailers and all that. And then me and Rodney, we go on test drives, and he explains to me, this is what he said. This was part of the selling point that he didn't even realize was a great selling point for me, is the fact that he goes, look, all of the Camrys from 2025 and beyond are going to be hybrids. That was my reaction, dog. Because again, if you've been listening to me for the past 10 minutes, you realize, hey, being in a Camry hybrid has been my dream. That's been the dream car. That's been specifically the car I've wanted for the past 10 years. And now it turns out they're not making any more Camrys that are not hybrid. So I'm like, what? So I'm like, okay, I'm intrigued now. Keep talking. And as we add, so we have the extra $1,000 to upgrade, right? And then we have the fact that it's now your car that you actually want. And then the situation was, again, I'm still responsible, still very much like, okay, is the insurance going to go up or down and stuff like that? So it takes me through this is all happening this Sunday at the dealership. They take me through the people that are responsible for getting the insurance right. So the insurance people, we get on the phone and, we see how much the insurance is going to be. And I realized that my insurance is pretty much going to stay the same. So because of that, I wasn't going to do the deal. I was going to say, you know what, maybe it's not my time. I wanted my insurance to go down or whatever. So they put me in the office where the person that's actually there to sell me the car and go over the numbers. And I'm there saying, hey, I'm not going to do it because the insurance is not going down. It's going to pretty much stay the same, and the monthly payments are going to go up because I'm upgrading from a Corolla to a Camry, right? So the guy takes me into the office of his manager or whatever, and he just looks at me straight up and says, all right, what's the number that you can afford? I give him the number that I could afford, and he goes, okay, we'll make it work. Okay, you're a loyal guy, you're a loyal member, you bought the same car here, we want you in that car. So I say, yes, let's do it. If you're gonna make that number work, we're gonna. They hit the gong, everyone's clapping, they're like, yeah, because they're all excited because you finally man up and make a decision. That's what it's all about. Buy the damn car. Don't be a little wimp, looking around. If you're gonna be a man and stand on it. If it's your dream car, man, buy that shit. All right. So here's where there was a caveat though, because I have a Toyota credit card, like I mentioned, and I called him and I thought there was $2,000 on the credit card for me to use. So I was telling him, look, I'm going to put $2,000 down on the car. But when I called the credit card company, I realized it wasn't $2,000 that I have available for it. It's actually $1,200. So that's $800 less than I said I could put down on it. And then that's when I was like, oh my God, I guess it just ain't my day. Maybe I'll, wait a couple months, save up on the credit card, and then be able to put the full two. However it is, whatever it is I want to do. So I told him, I'm like, yeah, but I don't have the $2,000. Like I just reasoned with him, just the same way I'm talking to you guys. And I said, hey, maybe the $2,000, I don't have the $2,000 to put down on him, I only have $1,200. And the guy goes back to the manager. He says, yeah, that the credit card actually only has $1,200 on it, doesn't have $2,000 on it. And then he comes back, he says, doesn't matter. We're still going to do the deal. We're going to honor the number that the monthly payment is going to be. And I'm like, oh man. So I was like, now you got to do it. Because they made the number work. You're upgrading on the car. It's a hybrid. It's what you want. You're saving on gas. So, you got to do the deal. And I break all of that down for you. All right. There was a lot of things that I broke down for you. All right. To the point where I'm not even sure if I'm going to have time to get to the other stuff that I have to get to. But it's all going to kind of fall in the same line. Is the fact that I had such an incredible experience with them 2 years ago when I showed up to their dealership in duress, knowing that the Camry I had just blew out on me in the middle of the street. And they kind of saved me in a situation where this Camry that I had was, obviously on the downside, has lost its value. And then they put me in a Corolla for the time being as my credit improved. And again, I'm someone that had a car that was repossessed. I was at a 400 credit score at one point. They checked it. It's over 700 at this point, right? That's how I was able to get these rates and get the deal done the way I wanted to get the deal done. that takes work. That takes experience. That takes you being responsible enough so you can treat yourself to the finer things in life. So many of you guys out there who think of sales, or you think of the sketchy car salesman, or you think of salesmen in general as it being some sort of manipulative or a bad thing. I am living proof example that when you decide to stay loyal to a certain thing, when you decide that this is what you want, this is how you're going to go about doing it, you can put yourself in situations where your experience is positive enough to where there's going to be no sleazy salesperson, quote unquote sleazy salesperson. There's nothing they can do because you have your intention set. I had my intention set 10 years ago to be a hybrid. And that is the reason I made, if you listen to everything I said, that is the reason I made every single move. You got to know what you want, and then these things start happening for you. And when you're building your business, all right, you're building your business and you're putting out the frameworks and you're figuring out how to launch it and who you're going to serve and what it is you're going to do and how you're going to help people. This right here that you see on the front of the screen has to be at the forefront of everything you're about. All right. You have to ask yourself, what is the experience I'm providing? And I'll use myself as an example. Somebody comes into my world right now. What is the experience that you're actually giving them? Are they getting a positive message from you every morning? Are they going to be given something that they can take into their business and utilize in some sort of way? What's the experience that Aswan provides for people? Even when I was a trainer at 9 Run, the boxing trainer, right? Where I wrote about it right here. The experience that you're providing for people, that's what's going to lead to the sales. And then that's what's going to lead to the loyalty to your brand. All right. Because the minute I left the dealership, and I'll close you guys out just with this principle, because it lends itself to the lesson that the macro part of the lesson. It just shows you kind of how it works on the smaller scale. Is I knew I needed to get a haircut. Again, I was in the dealership for 8 hours. It was longer than I expected to be there, but we had to get a deal done. And I knew I needed to get a haircut, and not a full haircut, but I need to get all of this lined up, especially seeing that I'm on camera as frequently as I am. And I remember that my guy, Swab the Professional, who's a barber that when I first got out to Palm Beach, one of the first barbers that I met. And for months now, it's been like months since I've been able to really get a lineup from him. He's been professional. Every time I book it on the Bookski app, he's there. No ifs, ands, or buts. I followed him. He was at one shop, and then he went to another shop, and then he actually had to go to Delray. So when he went to Delray, I haven't gotten a chance to line up, to get my edge ups with him and all of that since he's been in Delray. But he's back in Palm Beach recently, and he messaged me maybe about 2 or 3 weeks ago and said, "Yeah, I'm back in Palm Beach now." So right after I leave the dealership, I remember, all right, I don't know what barbers are really working on Sundays like that, but I know my guy, Swallow Professional, I know he's gonna be doing his thing. Because he's just hungry. I know the kind of guy he is. So I look on the Booksy app. I go book a quick appointment with him just to get a fresh edge up. And then right before the edge up, the selection, this was like the selection show came out, and I'm looking to see because there were rumors about Michigan playing in I forgot what other, but I think it was the Music City Bowl or it used to be the Outback Bowl in Tampa. They were either going to be in Tampa or in the Music City Bowl in Nashville. That was where the rumors were. And I keep up with all the Michigan news. I'm a part of all the group chats, like the Michigan diehard fans and all that kind of stuff. So the selection show finally came out, and it finally got announced that Michigan is going to be playing Alabama, of all people, of all teams, right? The same team that they played in the Rose Bowl last year, and they're going to be playing them in Tampa. And I remember I used to live in St. Petersburg. So as I was going through all of the Michigan chats that I'm a part of, like the Michigan fans and all that kind of stuff, they were showing how the tickets were selling fast. Like the tickets were going quick because everybody that's living in Michigan now and, big fans of the team, they are looking for whatever excuse they can to get to Florida. That's what they do this time of year. So right before I sit down for the edge up, I'm on my phone. I'm like, yo, dog, hold up real quick. And I pay for my tickets. I get right there in the front row section and all that. And that capped off an incredible. When I say an incredible, I could not think of a better Sunday, an absolutely incredible Sunday. And it all was about what? An experience, sales, and the fact that I was loyal to this particular dealership. There we go again with this Wi-Fi. This always worries me because this happened one time. All right. Come on. We're wrapping up soon, so. All right, we're good. We're good. All right, yeah, we're good. We're good. Yeah, so brand loyalty, it was the fact that I'm loyal to this dealership, loyal to this car that I won, the dream car that I had back 10 years ago, right? The edge up, the sales part of it, and then the experience. The experience I had, the sales, and then that led to me being loyal to these certain things. So the closeout question, and I'll close you guys out with this principle and this concept, is when you think about your work, when you think about how it is you go about doing whatever it is you're going to do today, instead of thinking so much about the profits and the numbers, and don't get me wrong, those things are important to know, more so think about the experience that you're providing for the consumer, you're the ideal consumer of your product, how you sell it to these people that really do want your stuff, the experience you're providing for them, and is the process going to be equal to them being loyal to the brand that I'm creating? That's the process. That's how you have to be thinking. If you take that approach, then you will see a whole lot more wins. You'll see a whole lot more wins, and the longevity of the success will be clear. The numbers will be clear that you're going to be successful over a long period of time, and that needs to be the goal. All right. So all that being said, we'll dive more into this. If you are a member, again, I'll remind you here, don't forget to join the Patreon community. Let me pull it up on the screen real here. patreon.com/as144. Make sure you tap into me there. Main website to check out to dive deeper into all my work. It's makeyeamove.com. That's MakeYeamove.com. One-stop shop for your teamwork and your self-development needs. As One Crookshank, your one and only speaker, checking out. You guys continue to move swiftly. We will talk more soon.